So Nathan, we're in an era where passion and purpose are talked about a lot. So much about passion and purpose. And, I want to talk a little bit about how passion maybe impacts purpose and maybe how purpose impacts passion, but how do they interrelate?
Well, purpose is something that I'm almost obsessed with. It's been something that has kind of been my motto for the last 10, 15 years. I remember one of the first movements I did with youth, it was called Generation of Purpose.
Yes.
And the mindset was that everyone has a purpose. And I think that's the first step, is to understand that if you're living, if you're breathing, if you have the function of your limbs, you have a purpose. If you're here on earth, there's a purpose for you to fulfill. And so I really wanted that message to go forth. At that time, they were talking about Generation X. They were talking about that this generation was doomed, and I wanted to break that mold and say, no, this is a generation of purpose. And it's really followed me all throughout my life. And one of the quotes that has kind of culminated that, it was a quote from my pastor. It says, passion is purpose revealed. And so I think it's important that we understand that, one, all of us have purpose, and two, all of us has passion. The question is, what's the difference? And for me, we have to look at passion. I talk about this in the book. We have to look at passion as, passion can be wonderful. Passion is exciting. Passion is something that, you get up in the morning for. They always say, if you could do something that you love, you never work a day in your life. That's what they say. So passion is exciting, it's wonderful. But to me, passion is emotional. Passion is about sometimes how you feel. I liken passion to like a fire. A fire can be amazing. A fire can be wonderful. A fire can be incredible. Fire is used to spark the ignition that can drive a car. Fire is used to provide warmth when it's cold. Fire is used when you are cooking to give you substance. So fire can be absolutely incredible. But the flip side of that is, that's fire controlled. When you have fire out of control, fire can burn down a house. Fire can provide second and third degree burns, first degree burns. Fire can cause irrevocable damage if it's out of control. And I think we have to look at passion that way. Passion is great in control, but when you have passion out of control and out of accountability, that's when you start to be all over the place. You can be doing one thing today and another thing tomorrow. You don't know where to start. You don't know what you're actually supposed to be going toward. And so many people are living on passion and have no clue how it relates to purpose. The key thing is that everything you're passionate about doesn't mean that's purpose. I'm passionate about basketball. I don't think basketball is a part of my purpose right now. I love playing, but that's not a part of my purpose. There may be somebody that's passionate about counting green grass. It doesn't mean that's an indication toward purpose. Purpose is something that is intentional. So again, passion is emotional. Purpose is intentional. When you have intention, that means you create some boundaries behind it. You create some borders. You create a standard. You create accountability. Here's the thing. If you're not willing for your passion to be accountable, you're not ready for purpose. A passion has to be able to be subjected under accountability. And so the question becomes, as I turn it over, it's like, from passion to purpose, what is the ingredient that marries passion and purpose? To me, that ingredient is process. In order for passion to turn into purpose, it has to go through process. And process is not always going to be easy. Process is not something everybody's going to enjoy, because now I got to take that passion and I got to dissect it. I've got to pull it apart. I've got to look at maybe what's wrong with it, what could go wrong. That's the process part. And if we can allow passion to marry process, then that will position us for our platform to purpose.
Oh, that's great. I like your explanation. And when you talked about process, people typically kind of use those words as, okay, this happens, this happens, this happens. But process is difficult. And all you gotta do is look at, go to a meat packing place where they have to process the meat, and there's blood, there's bone, it's nasty. That's why they have to wash it every night. There's USDA regulations. And so process can be very painful.
It really can.
And what we do is we sometimes minimize the process. But I think that's, like you said it so eloquently, you have to have process to get to the point where you need to be. Here's a question I have.
That's very true. You have to have process, and process has to be the focal point to connect passion to purpose.
Yeah.
It can't not be an afterthought. Passion must marry process in order to get to purpose.
So when people try to, because it's painful sometimes, it hurts sometimes, when passion is being processed, I've seen people try to skip that part. They don't want to go through the processing, so they don't want to wait. They don't want to be in the desert. They don't want to be, they don't want to wait.
Microwave
be hurt. They want that microwave society.
Yeah.
So speak a little bit about that too. And here's my question though, before we go any further. If passion is there, and I know that it has to be passion toward the right thing, towards your purpose, but because there could be a lot of passions for you. But if passion is there, is it necessarily not just important, but is it necessary to get to purpose?
A passion?
Passion.
Absolutely. It has to be connected, because here's the thing. There's a lot of people looking to make money.
Right.
Obviously, we come through a pandemic, and people are looking at ways that they could actually connect to bring income.
Right.
And I think that's awesome. You don't always have to be passionate about the way that brings you income, right? But at the same time, if you don't have a passion behind what you're doing, then it's impossible for it to be purpose. Again, going back to that quote, passion is purpose revealed. So I think it starts with passion. I talk about it in my book, you have to list the different passions that you have, and then you have to dissect it. And the next step in listing, first of all, understanding you're going through process, then listing your passions, and then looking at which one of those passions has the ability to bring in income in my life. Mm-hmm. So I also believe purpose is supposed to sustain you.
Yes.
Purpose is something that's supposed to carry you. Passion is fleeting. Again, it's emotional. It's like a roller coaster. Passion can go up today, down tomorrow. I'm excited about my vision today. I'm dejected tomorrow. Passion can be, varied, but purpose is constant. I may be passionate about one thing today and not tomorrow, but it doesn't matter what I do. Purpose will always follow me. What do I mean by that? It's no secret that my purpose is young people. Mm-hmm. It's purposed in me. It doesn't matter what environment. I've tried to run from certain things, and it didn't matter. I was still connected to purpose. Right. And so I believe you have to have the passion, because that's that fire, that's that light, that's the thing that allows you to keep going. But then again, when passion marries the process, it goes under accountability. Now you can determine what that purpose is, because the purpose will sustain. If it's not sustainable, it's not purpose.
So when we talk about passion, I think just like you said, if there's a way to make money, if you find a need for something, you can do it. It's going to make money for you most times. It's going to help you most times, but you don't necessarily have to have a passion for it.
Right.
The question is it sustainable, or not sustainable as far as will it bring money in, but is it sustainable for you? Does it make you excited to wake up in the morning? If you're doing it just as something to do to make money, your passion is subverted to a degree. Yeah. You need to have something that's going to really make you excited. When I think yours is young people, mine are married individuals. So when I think about that, it's easy for me. Sometimes I get a phone call and somebody just needs a little bit of help, it's easy for me to get out of bed and answer questions. Whereas if something else happened, I might say, call me in the morning, because I don't have the passion for that.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't want to help. Doesn't mean I won't help, but it's not as lively. It doesn't burn.
I want because we talked about passion, we talked about purpose. Mm-hmm. I want to dig into this process a little bit. I want to talk about that because it's a requirement. It's a prerequisite to purpose, and yes. I think that's what people don't understand. You're going to drive off from passion, but it cannot become purpose until you go through process. Talk about that a little bit, how important it is for people to be willing to go through process.
I did a series a while back about don't despise the process. It was supposed to be 3 weeks. It lasted for about 2.5 months.
That sounds like the preacher.
It did. and don't despise the process. I mean, there are people, and it's not just from a biblical standpoint, but from a biblical standpoint, that went through so many things that they needed to go through. Mm-hmm. They needed to be where they were. They needed to suffer, and they need to suffer greatly. But what the plan was for them to bleed a little bit so they could get to the point of their purpose. And so I think it's very important. You gotta process. You have to have everything processed. And if you don't, from a governmental standpoint, if you don't process things properly, when you sell them, somebody gets sick, you get sued. Right? It's the wrong thing to do. The right thing to do is to go through the process and don't despise it. Don't be upset about it. Sometimes, you won't always have all the money you want. You don't always have the solutions you want. You don't always have everything that's just hunky-dory perfect for you. But if you sustain, or if you are processed properly and just hold on, sometimes where you are right now is an answer for later on.
One of the quotes that I say, and again, I think this is a great way to wrap this up, is that when you allow passion to marry the process, it positions you for your platform to purpose.
Passion, process, platform, purpose.